Movie thoughts. Gods of Egypt is an action-adventure fantasy film. It takes place in ancient Egypt around the mythical gods, all of which have been, I guess, recorded and implemented from Egyptian history. I don't really know much about Egyptian mythology. I know quite a bit about Greek mythology, but not so much about Egyptian mythology. So I can't really remember all of the different gods and stuff. But it does involve Set, who is the god of darkness, and it also involves Horus, who I think is the god of air. So Set has started a mission to take over the throne of Egypt, because he is a god and he should be the one that everybody worships. He is the son of Ra, who is essentially the Egyptians' version of creator. He is the sun god. He created everything in whatever. I don't know. If I keep going on now, I could be getting things wrong. I don't want to start doing that because apparently people get annoyed when I get things wrong. So effectively what happens in the film is that Set tries to take over the throne. His only opposition is Horus, which is the son of Orisis, I think. Set kills Orisis, which is the god of light. So already, we know that something's wrong. So Horus loses his eyes and then goes into exile. And it is up to a mortal hero, and I think his name was Beck. Yeah, his name was Beck. I remember. I remember. His name's Beck. So it's up to Beck to find Horus. I need to remember that because it's like ELO's Diary of Horus Wimp, which, yeah, I should remember that. Set, played by Gerard Butler, is now in control of Egypt, and he enslaves all the mortals and effectively makes slaves not be able to get into the afterlife. Beck, who then has personal interests in this because his, let's say, lady friend is in danger of possibly not making it to the afterlife. So he finds Horus and makes a bargain with him to effectively get his lady interest out of danger. And this is where I start to get confused with the story, because there's a lot going on. Well, there's not really a lot going on. It's just very confusing, and it's not really presented in the best of ways. Now, I've got nothing wrong with the script. Well, I do. I've got plenty of things wrong with the script, but I'm not going to go into that. What I'm going to focus on is the main method of storytelling, which I think I can focus on the best. I think that's the best way for me to look at movies. The method that they've done for storytelling has literally narration at the beginning of Beck as an old man, which immediately means that he's not in danger of dying. He's never going to die because he was the narrator at the beginning. Like, yeah, they've spoiled that beginning. And then that's never called back to again. You never see this person who plays the voice of Beck. So it starts off with his narration and then jumps to the crowning of the new king, who then doesn't become king. And essentially it moves very jaggily through to, like, I think it's a year later, where Set has overthrown everyone, and everyone is, all the old gods, or the rebel gods he calls them, are dead, and pretty much, yeah, he has power. The only one that survives is Horus, who has lost his eyes, stolen by Set himself. Then the rest after that, it kind of gets a bit weird and a bit jumbled, and for me, a story this complex has to be good. Like, it's got to be good. In fact, a story this complex very rarely enthuses me, and it's very difficult for me to be entertained by this sort of film, so maybe I am a little bit biased, but I didn't enjoy this. I found it boring. There wasn't really anything that happened, and when it did, you didn't know what was happening because the action sequences were all over the place. It's literally like a jump cut here, there, and everywhere, and you just don't really understand it, or at least I didn't understand it. And at the end of the day, I'm the average moviegoer, at least that's what I like to think I am. I'm not like an expert on films or anything like that. I'm the average moviegoer. I should be impressed by this sort of thing, right? No, I wasn't. I was sat there and I was bored. And it's also a 2-hour movie as well, and that kind of makes it drag along a bit. Gerard Butler, I've got nothing against Gerard Butler. I think he's done some fantastic films, but in this, he phones it in. Like, he really does phone it in. This is the definition of phoning it in. He does a performance that he had done 10 times better in the past. In 300, when he was King Leonidas... when he was King Leonidas in 300, at least, like, he did the whole booming, "This is Sparta!" voice, and it suits him well. He can do that, but then in that character, that also had a subplot. He loved his men. He loved Sparta, where he lived in. He had equal ideals. He loved his wife, and there was compassion in him. And it wasn't just him yelling at people for 2.5 hours. It was like there was something to watch. Now, I don't think that storytelling-wise that is a brilliant film either, but very visually it is a good film, and I think that I do personally enjoy 300, and I can watch it again if I need to.
My legions of the desert will bring them reckoning!
Whereas this, I don't enjoy this at all. It doesn't move forward very well enough for me. There's, like, random love scenes that just don't need to be there. There's, like, this love interest that you just don't need it. The mortal Beck, you don't need to see him. I guess they put him in so that the audience would relate to him, but it doesn't work because he doesn't have any charisma at all. And he can do pretty much anything, which makes him a god. There are parts where he's trying to steal something, and there's a lot of traps going off, which in itself is ridiculous, because it was supposedly designed and built by men, mortal men, and nothing to do with the gods. It was the men that did this vault, and these traps just look ridiculous. They wouldn't have happened in Egypt. I don't even think they could make them happen now, let alone Egypt. But anyway, he gets through these traps, and like I said, there's no investment for him, because you know that there's no danger. You know that he's going to get out of this film without dying, and yeah, and I'm not saying that he does, I'm not saying that he doesn't, but right from the beginning, that narrator kind of gives away the ending. That's all I'm going to say. Now, the only compelling character in the film was Horus, and that was played by Nikolaj, I think that's how you pronounce his name, Nikolaj Coster-Waldau, maybe? I'm not sure. I might have butchered that. Someone on the internet will see this video and they will get so pissed off that I've butchered his name. Anyway, he's Jaime Lannister. Yep, that's right. I've gone to see another film, pretty much back to back, with a Lannister in it. That's stop it. But anyway, yeah, I generally thought he was good in the performance. I did think that it was very reminiscent of Jaime Lannister, and I can see why he got that role, because he's very good at the kind of not really caring, but also severe, harsh side. But he did have an arc. Like, I don't think it was a particularly big arc, and I don't think it was a good arc, but I think that's the writer's fault as opposed to the actor's fault. So yeah, because nothing really happens, and I can't really tell you much about the film, I'm gonna give this film a 3 out of 10. And that's actually probably the lowest score I've given a film. The CGI, for instance, was just appalling. I've got a lot more to say about the negatives, and there's not very much positives that I can pick up, so 3 out of 10. So yeah, if you do like Egyptian mythology, I guess you can go and watch this, but really if you want something similar to this, go and watch The Clash of the Titans. The original Clash of the Titans. Go and watch that. That is brilliant. That is fantastic. Anyway, guys, until next time, I'll see you then.